Yes, this is Chess Knowledge with H1. And yes, we're going to be running it back with another episode talking about chess knowledge, chess wisdom, and chess understanding. Today, we will be talking about a piece attack on the castled king in chess. And this game that we're going to be going over is by Paul Keres, which you should know who that is. And then we got for the black pieces, the contender, Laszlo Sabo. The site was Budapest, so that explains the names. And except for Paul Keres. And the date is 1955, and the result is you're gonna have to figure that out. You should already know, but it is what it is. And this event was Hunurs. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that because it's probably in a different language. And this was round 3 of this tournament. So let's see what Paul Keres is doing today in 1955. That's interesting. Okay, let's get started. But before I get started, let me just wipe the board right quick. It seems like a good idea to do at this moment because this was from the previous video of talking about Edward's Lasker. But we're on Paul Keres right now, and Paul Keres decided to do e4 like a real chess player should. This is how a real chess player should play. E4. I don't know why I'm so excited because I'm a D4 player, but when I see Grandmaster games, I like E4. And especially I like when people play C5 to somebody's E4 so that I know, oh snap, it's gonna be an exciting game in the Sicilian defense. But what type of Sicilian defense are we gonna be going into? The open Sicilian defense, knight F3. And I just want to see the next moves to be like knight C6 and D4. And if that happens, okay, so we got knight C6, and then we got the move D4. D4, C takes D4. And if you're a Sicilian player, then you already know what the next move is going to be. Knight takes D4. And then we got the move knight F6, attack the pawn. After that pawn got attacked, then we got the moves knight c3, d6, and bishop g5, which this is an extreme take on the Sicilian defense at this moment. And this opening is clearly called the Richter-Rauser variation. I probably said that wrong, but who cares? You're probably going to correct me in the comments. Let's just get into it right quick. And then after bishop g5, we got the move e6. These moves have been played so many times, I can't even explain it. Like for example, so after the move e6 is played, we got queen d2 that has been played 16,000 times, and these are master games. These aren't even online chess games. These are master games. Been played 16,000 times. We got bishop b5 that's been played 386 times. We got queen d3 that was played 347 times. So masters should have a whole library of Sicilian games to go off from. And the game that we're going into is the queen d2 variation. And after queen d2 was played in this position, then we got bishop e7, castle queenside, and then we got the move, I'm guessing, castle kingside. After castle kingside, let me just tell you this, a little secret about chess. If you're castled on opposite sides of the chessboard, and Paul Keres knew this and knew that this was going to happen. But when you're castled on opposite sides of the chessboard, that's you declaring that a war is a brewing, all right? Because here's the thing. White's main goal is to attack this king, to push up all these pawns. It could be a pawn storm, it could be a piece attack, who knows? But all I know is that this king is going to be attacked in the next 10 moves. And the same thing with the black pieces. The same thing. Either pushing down these pawns or doing a piece attack, maybe bring the pieces over here, rook to the c file. Who knows? All these strategies have been played before, and that's why the Sicilian is a very sharp and rich opening. And it's mostly open in theory right now, so, Don't play the Sicilian if you don't have your opening repertoire already set up in your favor. But after kingside castling, we got the move f4, f4 and a6, which kind of plans on pushing the b5 and maybe pushing the b4, knock the knight somewhere, feeding cattle the bishop on the b7 square, maybe not, maybe put the rook over to b8 and push that pawn down and attack. Who knows what's going to happen in this position? And white is already set up to do f4, maybe f5, maybe e5, who knows, maybe set up with h3, g4. Anything can happen at this moment. Still, a lot of moves have been played. And actually, just now that I'm thinking about it, the computer is saying that this is an inaccuracy at this moment, but masters have went through this game with playing a6 at this moment. But after the move a6, Paul Keres decided to open up the position, but can't talk, open up the position after the move e5, attacking the knight and attacking his pawn. So Lazio decided to take the pawn on the e5 square. And after taking the pawn on the e5 square, then we got the move knight takes c6. And yes, the game is getting exciting at this moment. After the knight took on c6, black decided to take this knight back. Paul Keres decided to take this pawn on e5. And then the first little mistake, because white is up like 1.4 points right now. So the chess engine favors white in this scenario. And it definitely favors white after the move knight d7 was played in this scenario, because that was a big inaccuracy, especially since any normal player would have played the move knight d5. I don't know. I think I would have played knight d5. These backwards moves suck. And I get it. You know, a lot of things are going on. I just want to trade the bishops. This is black's plan. My pieces are crimped. You already ruined my pawn structure. I just want to trade the bishops, get into like a quick end game, and let's just draw this thing. But, you know, Paul Keres is not that type of person, especially being in the Sicilian, and you have a little advantage. So he was like, nah, I'm just going to push this h-pawn. If you want to trade, we can trade. But I'm just going to tell you this now. If this bishop takes on g5, I pushed up the h-pawn for a reason. I'm not taking with the queen. I'm taking with the h-pawn to get the rook on the h-file so that I can probably play bishop d3, attack the h-pawn, and there's no way for you to defend it in an accurate manner and maybe get my queen to the h. There's a lot of things that can happen at this moment. And then after rook b8, let's just think about what's going on in this position right quick. Let's go through our evaluation. Nobody sacrificed material. Not yet, at least. White, I'm going to say, is up more in development, even though both people have like one bishop. Okay, so both players have their light square bishops not developed. This bishop has more of a goal of what it's doing. This bishop has a better job than this bishop. This bishop is still taking a gap year, 35 years old, doesn't know what they're doing with their life, right? That's that bishop. This bishop, you know, he knows what he's doing. He's just not aiming at the right area. This bishop should be aiming at this area, but, you know, it's probably going to get here someday. It's just aiming at like this bishop is still trying to be an astronaut when it should be like an accountant. You know what I mean? like you get something realistic. And so this is what's going on. White is up in material. White is up in development time. King safety. You're gonna have to. I don't know. King safety is pretty hard right now. It's pretty hard to determine. I would say. I'm just gonna say equal, because even though black has his b file and can sacrifice on the b2 square, it's not very certain who is hurting more than the other. And then plus two, this h-pawn can run up really fast. This bishop can be exchanged. I don't know what's going to happen. So let's just make that equal. Center control, definitely white, and probably more center control than not. Honestly, I would put double on the center control because we're taking control of the whole D file. We got this pawn on the E5 square, and we definitely have more space than our opponent. And when we have more space, we have more options. In pawn structure, definitely have good pawn structure, because if you look at this C pawn right here, this C pawn is trash. Like, this C pawn is by itself being defenseless and can be attacked right now too. So in this A pawn, but at least this A pawn is defended by this bishop, and that's like the only goal of this bishop is defending a helpless little pawn. And the pawn is 1 point and the bishop is 3 points. So do you really think that this bishop wants to be defending a pawn or want to be attacking this king on the C1 square? It seems like, if I'm not mistaken, white has more chances of attacking this king than these cramped pieces that haven't even moved above the 7th rank. This knight would have been above the 7th rank if this knight would have went to the D5 square, but he decided to go the passive way, the passive route. And so after Rook B8 was played, we got the move Queen E3, Rook E8, and then we got a Rook Lift. And this is where things just start getting a little bit airy for the black pieces, because once you see your opponent do a Rook Lift, you already know what's next or what's about to happen. After the rook moved to h3, black decided to get some activity. You gotta go somewhere. And so queen a5 is where they went. And maybe something can happen. You know, I got the rook on the b file, got my queen on the a file, and maybe if this knight moves, I can get some attack going, and I could be doing fine right now. I know you're trying to attack me since you did a rook lift. I'm just pretty scared right now, to be honest. And then Paul Keres decided to still take this bishop on the e7 square. I'm like, dude, this bishop is in the way. I need this bishop to be out the way. And now you don't have anything to take this knight on f3, not f3, but c3. And you can't infiltrate my king side, especially you can't take the a pawn. And I don't have to do an extra move to do king b1 or a3, things of that nature. So rook takes on e7. This rook becomes more helpless than it was before. And now this rook has only one square to go to. This isn't a good position. This knight would have definitely did better on the d5 square. And after that move, then we got the slow rook g3 move. And just to tell you, the chess engine loves white's position. They're like massaging white's position back on the chess engine because they're giving Paul Keres 2.4, like plus 2.4 advantage. And so once you pass the 2 mark, you know on Grandmaster level, this should be winning, easily winning. But there are still pieces on the board, and you know, we gotta be technical about this. You know, these are still humans. And so as a human, he played rook e8, you know, get this rook to a better square. Now I got 3 squares to go to. And then Paul Keres made an inaccuracy, but it's not that bad. He's still kind of winning. Rook takes on d7, bishop takes on d7. And then after bishop takes on d7, we got the move bishop d3, another inaccuracy, and it's kind of equal at this moment because the computer wanted the queen g5 to be played. And usually in these types of positions, when you're castling on opposite sides, you want to be as quick as possible. You don't want to be slow when you're attacking your opponent. So after bishop d3 was played, we got the super slow move, the most disrespectful move that is ever played with castling opposite sides h6. Which kind of makes sense because you got the bishop aiming at the h7 pawn, so you're like, what if I could just go h6? You know? That seems like a fair plan. That seems like a fair trade. And if queen takes on h6, then you got queen takes on e5. That's clearly the plan. But this is still a major blunder because the computer wanted black to play a good move like maybe rook b4, like rook b4, get some activity. You know what I mean? It seems like a computer move, you know. We're not computers, we're humans. So h6 was played. After the move h6 played, and the computer's giving white a plus 7.3 advantage, then played another inaccuracy, queen f4, but still a 5.5 advantage for the white pieces. And after the damaging move, king f8, putting yourself on the same file as the queen, then we got the most disrespectful move that has ever been played. Rook takes on g7, sacrifice. And if this king just stays here and you do moves like rook e7, queen takes on h6 is just ugly. There's probably so many good moves that could be played at this moment, but all I see is queen takes h6, and that's just beyond ugly. But after king takes on g7, which was definitely played in the game because there's nothing else better to do, queen f6. And then after the move queen f6, there's not really that many moves that could be played. So Lazio, I think it's Lazio, right? Yeah, Lazio decided to play king f8. And what's the make your opponent resign type of move? What would be the move that y'all would play? Because you already know the move that that Paul Keres played, right? Hopefully. Because after the move bishop g6, the game is over. There's no way to stop this checkmate. Except you're probably thinking, wait, h1, you're stupid. You're stupid, h1. I could just play my trap card and play rook e7. But I would say, first of all, I'm not stupid. And secondly, queen to h8 checkmate doesn't look really good for black, don't it? So you can't do rook e7. What other move can you do to protect this pawn? Nothing. That's why he resigned. And yes, that's how you attack with pieces against a castled king. And remember this. If you're going to castle on opposite sides of the board, please stop doing slow moves and target your opponent and recognize if you're going to do a pawn storm or a piece attack. Because if you're doing a piece attack, you lead with a sacrifice with the rook take on g7 sacrifice. But if you're doing a pawn attack, then you're going to have to start rushing up the pawns, and you should figure that out very quickly. And if you don't, then you're going to suffer, because this attack, if white would have been a little bit slower, maybe like 2 or 3 moves slower, this could have been a winning position for the black pieces. And I already showed you in this game, right, that white was kind of like letting go of the position a little bit. There are some moves that the computers didn't like. They were saying that, oh, that was an inaccuracy. You can't do that. And so here's the thing. Attack your opponent. Be efficient. Be fast. Be confident.